Hello, storytellers. It's Storytelling Ron, and I'm here to talk about a very horrifying story or mission that you can create in this game for the Lord RPG, The Dark Ages. Now, you can make this family friendly, and I'll explain how. But this is exactly what I want this game for: is to create missions and scenarios that reflect things that you've read or experienced, today in modern world of paganism. And let me explain. Hollywood producers sentenced for running prostitution ring that supplied well-known wealthy clients. Okay. So I'm just gonna go through this real quick, and I want to close this because this guy is disgusting. High-end prostitutes. He comes in. He's dapper. He's seductive. Everyone thinks he's a cool person. He probably parties with people. Goes around in these circles. But here's the thing that I really want you to understand. One victim spoke during Jordan's sentencing hearing and stated she never wanted to be a prostitute, but Jordan forced her to drink a concoction of drugs, which ultimately led her to becoming brain damaged. Okay, so I'm just going to close this because it's disgusting. This guy needs to burn in hell. And he did some pretend shell company movie stuff. Okay, so that's pure evil. And how can we do that for a game like For the Lord Dark Ages? So I don't want to distract you too much with this, but anyway, yeah. So what do you do? What love potions are very common, right? Think ecstasy or think whatever. So whenever, and back, especially think about in the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, young girls don't understand this, right? No one does. And so these pagans, these witches will give some sort of version of that to somebody. They'll take this potion, put it in their drink or whatever they can offer them, get them alone, and that's it. And they consummate, they sexually exploit this poor person who's got ecstasy running through them, who feels these things. And then imagine that, the life of slavery of this girl to this man now. Imagine that it's done. She's now enslaved and shamed. You doesn't matter if you're Christian or pagan. If you've been seduced by a man, and if the tribe or family either accept it or this person now has to marry you, you screwed up. Imagine the girl, the young lady, the young woman with a future, traditional future with her family, with maybe a new husband, is now seduced or succumbed by this creep. And will he stop doing that for other women? Will he stop exploiting other women, taking other women? And he'll probably take her, and if he's like sort of one of these high-end manipulators, take her into a prostitution ring. She was once an innocent girl, once, going to be a wife and a whatever, and then taken away and drugged. No freedom or will of her own in that situation. All right, and that's going on today. But to lighten this up a little, deal with this in a manageable way that teaches kids, really teaches them. Think of a brother in this game. You have the opportunity now to use this to teach your kids something. Your son and your daughter, okay, or your imagine a couple of girls playing this and a couple of boys, and they learn about this in this game. And then you can say, yeah, this is a real thing. Okay, so how do we do this? So they're missionaries going into a village or town, or I would think, and you got to come up with something, and it's PG. So a love potion. So a princess, a duke's daughter, or a nun maybe has called them desperately to come to this kingdom, this duchy. I like to say duchy, but I think it's duchy. The duke's realm, and they hear about it. They get to the village, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Why were they called? Let's just say the duke's daughter called them in desperately, and then they go to the duke and find out that the daughter is holed up in her room and she won't come out, and won't talk to anybody except a local nun who's the only person or survivor of a once there was a church or something. And she won't come out. And so finally they get some information from her that she, there's she's afraid. Maybe she's pregnant. Well, no, we can't do that for kids. So she's afraid. And every time this traveling merchant comes into town, she and has dinner with the family, she feels a a love for him, right? But she knows it's wrong, and she's heard that he must have a spell or magic on her, and she knows that because right now she hates him. She detests him. But whenever there's but she prayed to your Christ. She's heard of your Christ, and she prayed to him for protection or help. But she knows she's afraid of this merchant, and because every time he comes to town, she gets these feelings, and she's afraid. That she wants to be with him and run away with him, but she doesn't know why, and so she's afraid and praying to so she has a fear of this, and everyone else loves him. He's great. He's wonderful. He brings in these other women who are sort of performers or something, and everyone just like, yeah, he's great, and they're all whatever. So what the story is that maybe he's got a witch, and she gives him love potions, and then he goes out and seduces these and exploits these women, these young girls, and gets them to drink something at the dinner, and he comes and always exploits them at the moment that they're. But for her, maybe she got because of her prayers, because of her luck, she was able to whatever, and then the nun protected her, or maybe took her away, and now they have a hate relationship, but then the daughter is thinking that she was helpful because she feels different, normal now, and not exploited the way she was with the drug. So that kind of a story now, and to make it even more fun or intriguing and PG, it could be that the merchant, has these girls and or minstrels and performers, and the witch and a couple of goons. So you have some potential fun fighting there, and I would say a pet leopard, like an exotic animal that he puts in the show. So he's a traveling minstrel, right? And so they have a little ritual they do in their wagon or wagons, where they make these love potions, and then they give to their creepy god, who's some Greek god that's there is definitely a Greek god or Baal or some Greek god that's about, and Bacchus, I think Bacchus is the one, the Roman god. So they pray to him and do a ritual, and then they make these love potions, out of with wine or whatever, and they have fancy wine or whatever it is. Okay, maybe it's fancy wine, and they drug everybody, and then they get what they want out of them. They get money, they get whatever women it could be, but keep it at that level of just exploitation, not sexual exploitation, but just exploitation, and he gets the the women and even so. And he gets in. He doesn't, for a PG thing, it could be that he's just exploiting him in a financial way. They all feel good. He has the best wine, but he drugs it, and so he's able to get a lot of riches out of them. It could be just like that sort of a thing. But the women fall for him. Oh, he's so wonderful and stuff. But it's because he drugs them during whatever dinners or events he has, or when he sells the wine to them. And that's when the missionaries can go in and discover that in the wagon, the caravans, or he blesses the local wines, So that's a way of teaching your kids that people can come and drug them and get them to think something, and then be almost exploited by them. So that's one of the missions I'll be doing soon. I'll develop it and post it at some point. But that's been on my mind a lot, because we think, whatever, love potions. These love potions were horrifying. They enslaved and shamed and put innocent women, specifically women, I'm sure, well, men too. Take that back. They're, in the plenty of that going around exploiting young men too. And I would say by men. Men are the bane of all sin, right? We are we are exploiters, and we will use whatever we can, drugs, whatever, to manipulate somebody. If you're that evil. And that's certainly been going on in the gay culture and in the hetero culture, taking drugs and exploiting and putting a person to utter shame, that they become then part of that culture, whatever that is. All right, this is a bit of a dark video, but one I feel like I have to talk about and get out, because my game, you're meant to have fun. It's meant to be fun and light, but you as the game master need to find things like this article and other things and bring them into, encapsulate them into something fun, but also a lesson, an awareness of something for your kids, for your family, for the youth group or whoever, that teaches them what's going on with what can happen, what does happen, and so for the Lord RPG. Thanks for listening.